got you under my skin. I've got you deep in the heart of me. So deep in my heart that you're really a part of me.
Hey, welcome back to Piece of Chaos podcast. Oh, man. This week, I have a very good friend of mine. We go way back. Brian McWilliams and I started and co-produced the show Comedy Ahoy in Marina Del Rey. It was a comedy show. It ran for over 5 years before the bar shut down. And, I mean, he is just ridiculous. And he's pretty politically active. He's a libertarian, I would say. If you had to pin him down, I think he runs a podcast called Lions of Liberty. He's deep into politics. We had a really interesting discussion, and I think even though I disagree with some of the stuff that he said, it's not because it wasn't like an argument and stuff you'll hear, but maybe I just don't want to believe it yet, but he does lean in a very progressive direction. And I agree with a lot of the stuff he says. You'll hear. It was interesting, but like I'm going to try something a little different with this podcast, so bear with me because I felt like I just didn't have the right information or give the right answers sometimes during the podcast. So while we were talking, and I feel like some of the stuff might need some clarity. So I might jump in sometimes and pause and because I am going to listen back to this one before I put it out. So maybe everybody should be a little more conscientious before they release their podcast. I don't know. It's like a weird responsibility that we're putting on everyday people to just be critical thinkers and do their best to spread information that is real, and that's that we're trying to get to. Not that I'm responsible for it, but I also, think if somebody listens, I don't want to get them to get the wrong idea or come away with a bad impression or think that we absolutely think we're right, because who knows what's going on. So anyway, enjoy the podcast this week. Sorry for the long ramble. And the sound should be a little bit better. I don't know. We're working on it. The studio's coming along. So enjoy this week's Piece of Chaos with my friend, Brian McWilliams.
There we go. Coolio. What up, dude?
How you doing, man? What's going on?
Good. Oh, not much. You sound like Ira Glass. So calm.
Oh, dude. Crazy times.
Yeah, no shit. By the way, do you use the video or just the audio?
Just the audio.
Okay, that's what I figured. I figured I have like a green screen, all that shit I could pull down, but I was like, I don't think you do it. Okay.
Nah, I can't be bothered.
Yeah. Amen to that.
It's
amen.
If it was easy, maybe, but it takes more time than I feel like dedicating to it.
Yep, exactly, dude. I feel you. So how you been, buddy?
Yeah. I've been good. I've been like, I don't know, I've been busy as hell,
Yeah.
Honestly, the whole time, the whole time. It's
the whole pandemic.
It's been insane. I'm busier now than I was before that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I was the opposite. I was like, because PR during the pandemic was like, everybody canceled all of their public relations contracts. I was just sitting around, taking government money, which I hate. Yeah, but yeah, man, it was like the opposite. Now we're cracking though. Now it's like super busy because everybody's finally like over it. Yeah, everybody's over the shit again. They're like, fuck it, let's go back to work. Had enough. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been. I know because I've watched your thought process evolve over
Oh, really?
over the pandemic.
What, just on Twitter?
Just, yeah, like the whole lines of liberty and your hot takes every now and then on Twitter and stuff.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you read it.
And it's so funny because it's just like, on some things, on a lot of things, I think we would definitely agree.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I'm just like, and it's like one of your jokes that I love, but is awful. And just like the Anne Frank material, for example.
Oh, yeah.
I would say it's maybe not weekly, but monthly for sure. I think about that joke.
Oh, really? Well, that's just very flattering.
Like the, you just got to, what is it? The punchline is like, you just got to eat it real quick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the attic dog. Yeah, it's the special. Yeah, it's just a normal hot dog. You got to eat it real quietly. I just told that joke after like 2 years, man. I did like a comedy show at a buddy's apartment, and I hadn't done stand up in forever. Not since the last show I did was your show.
Yeah, and
I told that joke. I told a bunch of other jokes that I wrote about, like fatherhood jokes. You know.
Yeah.
And because actually my daughter's gonna be 2 on Saturday.
Yeah.
But it's bonkers. But yeah, it's like a lot of jokes about, and some of you might have heard, is it just me, or every time you drop a baby, is it land butter side down? Pretty funny. I have one about, I think I told a bunch of them at your show.
Yeah.
And then I wrote a couple of new ones. I'd have to go over my notes because it was so new that I can't even remember it. But I wrote a brand new one about raising my daughter. But it was funny. Is this a podcast, or you want to do an intro? All right, good. Well, then I'll tell you, dude, what's funny is, my daughter's now gotten old enough where she's pretty much turned into she's amazing in so many ways, but you see the evolution and how her brain is working. And our friend sent us this Play-Doh thing, and it came with these 2 little girls, right? So Logan starts jamming the girls into the Play-Doh and then closing the lid on them. And I'm like, oh, that's not good. I'm like, you should let her out. It's like, she said, you hear her? She says, let me out. And then she goes, let me out. And I was like, yeah, let her out. And she's like, let me out. And then she's like tapping out the lid and knocking on the lid and then kissing it. And she goes, let me out. And I'm just like, Jesus, I'm raising Jigsaw over here, man. Oh, then she takes one out and then she's like, where's the other one? And it's like, one's always got to be in the pit, Oh, man. It's like psychopath.
Oh God. That's so funny. Yeah, man. It's, she has completely lived her whole life in this pandemic.
Yep.
Oh,
which is good and bad in a way. It was good the first year, right? Because my wife and I were both home. My wife works in furniture installations and sales for like big companies, Warner Brothers and shit like that. So big installations, and for a expensive brand. But then she's, sitting at home. No one's going in offices, and no one is buying furniture. So we're just both home, half the time taking unemployment, half the time not. And the good news is that we, had Logan with us a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people don't have that chance. But now, she's 2 and I'm busy. She's busy. Stuff's coming back together. We send her to daycare. Now she has to wear the mask, right? Which is too big for her little baby head. We have to twist it around and jury rig this thing so it stays on her face. Yeah. And they don't do much of anything. And they send her home. And I don't know if they're sending your kids are older, right? So they're not sending them home, but she gets a booger run out of her nose, which little kids get, 24 hours a day, and they send her home for 2 days. So now we're trying to make money to pay for daycare. Meanwhile, they keep sending her home, can't get anything done. This is a catch-22, people. Let's stop sending her home so I can get work done.
It's pretty crazy, and it's crazy making. I guess I appreciate your take. I don't quite think I'm on as far to the side of the spectrum as you, and maybe I just know too much from being in the business and knowing about vaccine business and stuff to just be like, dude, a lot of the stuff people say is bullshit. Like a lot of it is not correct.
Well, are you talking about COVID vaccines or vaccines in general? Because there's a danger with what's going on now in that, I'm vaccinated. My kid's vaccinated. I've always been a vaccine believer.
Yeah.
And, and I plan on, if we have another kid, she's going to get, or he or she or whatever it might be, is going to get vaccinated. I might skip a couple if I can here and there. But for the most part, yeah, get vaccinated. I believe in the technology. I believe in the science. But with COVID, I'm seeing failures upon failures and doubling down on doubling down. And now, even if you are somebody like me that believes in vaccines, now you kind of find yourself questioning the whole industry. Like how often does this stuff happen? What can now? It's like a credibility issue is now cropping up where there really wasn't one before, outside of the Jenny McCarthy's of the world.
Yeah. The stories have been drastically. It hasn't been a good communication effort from day one on all fronts. And it's hard to... Here's the thing. My biggest thing about all of this is that the thought that there could be any kind of deep, dark secret behind it just doesn't play out. Unless you are really just literally believing like comic book shit. Like, it just doesn't play out. There's too many people involved. I don't know. So anyway, what I'm saying is, I believe that the messaging is bad across the board, and some clarity would really, really help the situation.
Yeah.
The vaccines absolutely saved our asses.
See, I don't agree in any way. I absolutely don't agree. And I'll unpack a little bit though. So let's go back to, is there a global intergovernmental conspiracy type thing, right? So I am not a big conspiracy theory guy, but for me, it always comes down to power and money. And when you look at power and money, the pharmaceutical industry wields an unbelievable amount of both, right? They out-lobby the gas industry, which we go to wars over, right? Oil and gas. Pharma outspends them by like twice over. So if they're able to lie us into wars, right? Look at Iraq. We're lied into a war. We're told there's weapons of mass destruction. We all revved up. We go over there with this big old war. Turns out a bunch of bullshit. Media is complicit in it, just like, and media, big pharma is a huge part of media budgets. So when you say there's no conspiracy, it's comic book shit, I have to respectfully disagree, because when you look at the main driving factors behind it, there's a lot there.
I would even like give you some of that if what their answer for doing it is a vaccine that you have to get multiple times that they give away for free at CVS now.
But they're not giving it away for free. Like, pharmaceutical companies are getting paid billions and billions. The government's paying for it. We're paying for it.
But what I mean is the logistics of creating not just one dose of vaccine for billions of people, but 2, 3, 4 of them. The logistics of doing it. The reward is not worth it in the grand scheme, because even the money they get paid, I know it seems like a lot of money to be paid for the vaccines and to create an ongoing, need to create them, et cetera. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much money. And the issue is, like, for a pharmaceutical budget, even, like, it's a line item you pay attention to. Okay. But it's not like, I just don't believe they would go to all this trouble. Like, I would be more susceptible to that belief if it was like a pill everybody had to go get. You know what I mean?
Well, coincidentally, you know that Pfizer's already got one of those in the works that they say is just around the corner. But
it's treatment for what obviously is a disease, right?
No, it's a treatment, they said, specifically for the COVID, for rhinoviruses. That's what they're pitching it as. Now, this has not been released. This is coming from Pfizer CEO, which who coincidentally, by the way, had said, we don't think the boosters make sense to do anymore, right? With the variant and its evolution. And then, and I know this pill is coming. So I'm like, okay, he's being smart. He's laying the groundwork for the pill, right? That's going to be the next thing, take the pill. But at the same time, now they're making another variant, another, vaccine, whatever inoculation you want to call it, specifically for Omicron. But with the speed this thing's moving, it's going to be gone by the time it comes out anyway. It's going to be a new variant, and they're still going to make us get it to be quote unquote fully vaccinated. But to go back to your earlier point about budget. So I do public relations for a career, right? You know this. Mm-hmm. I've worked with a lot of pharma too, and a lot of emerging biopharma. So I know the budgets you're talking about. I know how hard it is. I know, a lot of companies trying to get orphan drug status, with those to treat specific diseases to make it faster getting through the process because it's so unbelievably expensive. But you have to remember too, though, that if the government's paying them, they're getting all these things out there, and they gave them basically, because it's a vaccine, they gave them freedom from getting sued over this. So that's part of that downside, right? To R&D and very strict protocols and all this time and money and effort is the process of FDA, which, as you know, is like 8-10 years, right?
It's brutal. Yeah.
The clinical trials, from animals to monkeys to people, that shit went out the window. So all that R&D time and money spent getting those protocols approved and getting the FDA to approve it, that's gone. So that billions spent, that's off the budget line right there. So the amount of money they can make, and not only make currently, but then also set the precedent, right? For now, we're always going to get these boosters. We're always going to have someone to boost. There's a lot of economic incentive there for them.
It's just I get it, and I understand why you connect those dots, but because
they're there to be connected.
But it ignores the reality of the disease when you get it vaccinated versus not in total. When you look at all the data, like the data is very, very vividly clear from people that are hospitalized, sick, and dead, what those numbers look like for vaccinated and unvaccinated. Now, what we don't know is what happens long-term for the vaccine and if that will cause its own problems long-term. But no vaccine's ever had more than 2 months later had a...
Well, and that's another thing, by the way. So I just lost, there we go. I lost my screen. So a couple things on that, a couple notes. So that's what everybody keeps saying, right? They keep saying, well, if you're vaccinated, your odds of being hospitalized are drastically lower. Your odds of dying are drastically, your odds of getting sicker are drastically lower, right? And that's not anymore. You're going to be much sicker, right? Well,
your odds of getting sicker, your odds of getting COVID are probably in the near 100% range now at this point.
Right. Everybody's going to get it.
And we can't, it's global and it travels easily. So
yeah.
We could be 100% quadruple vaccinated in our country, and if another country isn't, we've done nothing. The fart travels in the air around the globe. There's nothing you can do about it.
But okay. So, but you're arguing then that
I'm arguing that one dose for every human on the planet would be better than 4 here, 2 in the UK, none in this place, and let's fight over it. And do we need 4? Let's show us the fucking data at this point. We're all using words bigger than everybody's pay grade 2 years ago. Okay.
Yeah. Omicron, right there. Show us the data, which the CDC keeps behind lock and fucking key.
What the fuck is going on? Just show us. Just tell us. Do we need to be worried about it? Do we need to be worried about our kids? Are our kids going to get sick? Tell us the fucking real story. And I don't understand why it's left on our shoulders. Let me rephrase. I'm disappointed that it's left on our shoulders to figure it out when there's plenty of data collection, there's plenty of databases, there's plenty of real doctors who this is their shit. And it's so politicized and stupid that we've lost the thread. So I understand the frustration. I am trusting the data and the interpretations that I see from trusted sources as best as I can decipher on my own for my own and my family's safety.
At least you're deciphering on your own, though, right? That's a key point, is that so many people aren't deciphering anything on their own.
Critical it's just simply is not around.
it's critical thinking is non-existent. It's just not a thing. I was just yelling about this on my own podcast, how they're supposedly
doing, by the way.
That's right. Lions of Liberty, and a comedy podcast, The Boring, BOHRING podcast. But, I was yelling at this because Brian Stetler of CNN is going in and they're doing media training on disinformation, right? How to spot disinformation.
Yeah.
And I was just laughing because he's talking about critical things like, oh yeah, it's critical thinking, which basically is, he's just telling you, believe mainstream media only and only mainstream media, which is the worst. And mainstream media, like I said, lies us into wars. They've been wrong vastly more than they've been right throughout the entire pandemic, right? Every single time you see they're wrong. So, critical thinking is more important now than ever. But to go back to the data, I will say this, the UK has been very forthright in their data, as is Israel. And that's where with the vaccines, hospitalization rates, getting sick versus not sick. I just saw, this is a study that came out this week from the United Kingdom Health Defense, whatever it might be, literally showing that 80% of the people vaccinated in the hospital or 80% of the people in the hospital were vaccinated. So even to say you're going to the hospital if you are unvaxxed isn't true anymore. It's everybody's getting breakthroughs. Right. Yeah. And also remember this too. People don't realize, because again, the data they're giving us is not complete. And they have it. The people in the hospital who are unvaccinated, a lot of those people also might be extremely elderly that are too frail to get a vaccine or have some sort of comorbidity. And as we know, comorbidities is a number one indicator of dying of COVID. So we just don't know because we don't have the data on it. But we know for a fact now it breaks through. And we know for a fact now, at least in the UK where this data is available, that people that are vaccinated are in the hospital. They're ending up just in the same exact place as everybody else. And, Fauci himself admitted, the CDC admitted, the numbers they were counting of people in the hospital with COVID, they have to lower them by like 40% because it's with COVID versus from COVID.
Because of COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, because of COVID. Right. And so that's my problem is when we look at this.
What the fuck? Okay, so let's go down the rabbit hole of the fuck. Let's go down the rabbit hole of it's because the pharma companies are doing this, right? Which I can't in good faith say yes, because I know what goes on where I am. And I'm just I'm not
blaming the pharma company specifically. Go ahead.
But I get it. Like, look at Vioxx. Look at the shit's been, they have blood on their hands. They have done shady shit. You can't shy away from it. But Jesus, that means this is the part I can't get my head around. That means the comic book dirty shit is like somebody, and not just one person, a lot of people now we're talking about, if it's that deep, are like, yep, fuck everybody, stick needles in the kids. I don't care as long as I get paid. And I just can't square that there's enough people, because there's so many pharma companies also developing these, Moderna and all the others, J&J, Astra, they tried hard and it failed. Did it fail? Because did it fail? It's like,
I'm not saying it's like an iPhone where it intentionally fails after 5 years.
The intentions are good. If they get paid, they get paid. That research has been going on for a long time. The ability to scale up to create that many vaccines is fucking expensive, astronomically expensive. So the question is, what is going on with COVID? What is the actual thing doing to us? Has it been overblown and profit is being made due to the consequence that, well, if you guys are going to fucking throw a pretend not that bad thing out there, which Jesus, I don't think it's pretend.
It's not, it's not pretend, but
are the numbers inflated by the news? Here's the thing, and this sucks to even think, but there's so many people. Is even the numbers we're talking about here, should that be enough to jar us into all the things we did? And I would say, if you look back on it now, no, Monday morning quarterback on this thing's easy. January, February, they should have said, we're stopping air travel for a month. And if you have a sneeze or a sniffle or a headache or a sore throat, you're going into lockdown. We got to capture this thing. But instead, it was this stupid whatever the fuck all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And we lost containment. So it's okay, now we lost containment. Let's deal with that effectively now. So
I would
we
say,
have to know if we can allow it to ramp run through us.
That's the thing. But to say loss containment is a phrase. We don't even know. I mean, the Wuhan lab, as Fauci would say, that theory seems plausible enough, right? I don't know for sure if that's where it came from. I don't know. We know it didn't come from a fucking wet market in China, but wherever it came from, maybe it evolved into something, whatever. It's a rhinovirus. So the point being, though, to try to contain it is, as we've seen, almost impossible to begin with. We don't even know where it came from, when it came from. They thought it was in the United States at one point. We find out it was here 6 months earlier. Mm-hmm. But to your point is, you'd think it would be obvious to money quarterback and say we completely misunderstood what impact this would have. And this is really, when you find out the lethality of the virus, it is for a very minuscule portion of the population. And that's getting smaller by the day as this data comes out, as they revise from COVID, with COVID, comorbidities, all this. The numbers drop and drop and drop and drop. But meanwhile, like we're saying, you'd think it would be obvious looking back to say, we don't need to force vaccinations on people. We don't need to have passports. We don't need to mask up and force our children to wear it. We don't need to be inoculating children when, and this is the problem I have with the pharmaceutical industry, is there's evidence out there that says that, Pfizer and Moderna knew that myocarditis, that pericarditis were an issue in these studies they did. Mm-hmm. But they discounted people that had heart attacks, and they didn't report them as deaths from, or any sort of instance from the vaccine. But now you're seeing kids.
Is very difficult. Yeah,
I'm sure it is, but it was there. But they're being pressured to get it out, by the government. And of course, governments want to move quickly. Donald Trump's complicit in warp speeding this, and as is every government on earth. But now you have a motherfucker in I think it's San Francisco, Peter Fang, I think it's his name. He's trying to push forward a bill that would require every child 5 and up to be vaccinated for COVID-19 to go to school. And we know that it has far more risk, I would say, to the kids dying from the vaccine side effects than they do from COVID, where we know the death rate in children is so low, it's almost impossible to statistically measure. It seems criminal to me. It's fucking child abuse to me. And this is on top of all the lives they've ruined with everything they've done with lockdowns and deplatforming and censorship, which now, how many people got deplatformed and censored saying shit that we know is now true?
All right, I listened back, and this is one of those spots I was going to just jump in. It's really hard during a podcast to stop and check facts and all that stuff. And as much as I love podcasts, and I do love podcasts, this is a really, really hard thing to square and talk about. And, we're not going to solve it by any stretch of the imagination. It's just more venting. But I like these conversations, and listening back, I can hear my wheels turning when Brian says stuff that I don't agree with. And I think that's the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to have these debates out. More people should have these kind of debates and nuanced conversation and listen to each other and hear what they're saying and hear their concerns, and maybe we'd be better off. But I don't know. That's probably the only... I don't know. I haven't listened to the rest of it yet, but this is probably the only time I'm going to break in. But I definitely thought this was a good chance to break in and just say, I think we're just trying to be honest. We're just trying to figure this out. And as you'll hear in the next part here, after the conversation continued, we shouldn't have to even argue about this stuff. Some things we should be able to agree on a common reality. Common reality, common set of facts, globally, not just in this country. It's really weird that we don't. So, anyway, back to the show. I just, there's a lot going on right now with censorship and information overload and bad information and misinformation and censoring this and deplatforming that and pulling people's right to talk about things down and question things and irresponsible spreading of information. It's just is it irresponsible? Is it too early? Do we just not know? Why are we left to guess? These are all valid questions. But anyway, I don't know. just doing our best out here, everybody. So back to the show. Thanks. Yeah. Something's fucked up.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. I mean, yep. Well, good podcast. All right. Talk to you later.
Like I can see, and I know that I'm just saying, but also at the same time, the numbers we can pull. You can pull all the stories together, which is and make your own conclusion, which is the problem. We shouldn't have to do that. We shouldn't have to guess. Right. Like if they said,
it's like we're playing fucking Memento, like that movie Memento. We're looking back and looking at what we wrote on our fucking arm.
Yeah.
Can you just show me what I'm supposed to do? Can you give me the truth right now?
Yeah.
Right in front of my eyes.
It's pretty bizarre that can't come together. And if it did come together, who would we believe? Like at this point, it's been so muddied. It's frustrating as shit. And with kids, it's like, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to do. So with the little kids thing, it's like I'm all for vaccines for children, and they're already mandated for them to go to school for certain kind of vaccines. But those kind of vaccines are the kind
deadly ones.
They're the kind you get when you're a kid. This is more akin to flu. And here's the other thing that's going to be really interesting to find out is what is the genetic marker that allows this disease to go unnoticed in a population at the same time that it takes people down for 10 days with the worst cold they've ever had. Mm-hmm. For some people, it sends them to the hospital and they have to get a ventilator. And for other people, it just kills them. What is the genetic marker? Because if we can figure that out, then this vaccine is a fucking miracle. Because then you say, hey, if you are one of these types of people, if you have this blood type, you should get this vaccine because if you get COVID, you're going to be fucked.
Yeah.
Whereas everybody else, it's like, okay, you can roll the dice every year for up to a certain time on whether to get the flu vaccine or not. The flu sucks to get if it gets you really good and the strain changes every year, just like this is going to do. Mm-hmm. And we just don't have enough info. So, maybe overbroad and you don't want them to hold on to those powers.
Right.
Broadly.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing for me. That's the scariest. Yeah. And, my libertarian bent is the government never gives back power once it has it. Never.
Yeah,
in the history of government.
I saw a meme today. It was like the Lord of the Rings.
Right.
And with the ring and it's like COVID powers is the ring. The government puts it on and they're like, why should we give it back? Like,
no shit. It's never like the Patriot Act, right? 9/11 happened, a solo event, and 9/11 sucked. I'm not conspiracy theory on that either. 9/11 sucked. It was real. It happened. None of those powers are gone. They still spy on us. Even after Obama got exposed with all that PRISM stuff with Ed Snowden, everybody in America is like, what the fuck is this shit? You're spying on us all the time. You know what they got back? You know what we clawed back? Nothing. The Patriot Act got it just renamed as the National Defense Authorization Act and USA Freedom Act. They put all the same stuff back in there. So the point is, they never give you back the freedoms once they take them. And we under COVID, because the mainstream media combined with bad data, bad modeling. Nigel Ferguson, I think is his name, over at the Royal College in England. He is responsible for setting off every lockdown, because he projected something like 2 million Britons would die in the first month. Imbecilically wrong, horrible projections that everybody ran with. Then we do lockdowns, which we don't work. We did the 6-foot rule, which is based in literally nothing, literally nothing. And they just, destroy people's lives. But now they have the precedent set. So what's the next time they're going to do this shit? What are they going to force us to get vaccinated on again?
But it's so embarrassing because we had 1918 to model.
The Spanish flu.
Right. And you could look at that and you say, well, they didn't have the internet where they could tell everybody everything in an instant. They had to rely on fucking newspapers and people on the street corner. So give them a pass for taking 2 years to get through a coronavirus pandemic, right? Well, we have all that stuff and we fucked it up. We could have very easily been very straightforward about this. When you hear that, the president was briefed in January about respiratory, very contagious, bad virus, he just fucking lied.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
for me,
if he would have taken the other direction, that was a risk he could have taken.
I don't
and
agree.
He didn't.
I think if anything, every government, and look at Sweden, look at places that didn't lock down severely, that didn't take this authoritarian bent. They turned out just fine. I would say that every action taken probably, if anything, made things worse, because especially knowing how the coronavirus accelerates and spreads, right? It spreads with people being home. Like somebody gets the virus, brings it home. You're in your house, you're locked down. That's where it spreads to all your family. It doesn't spread outside, going about your daily tasks so much. But also, we know the survival rate of this, and we knew it fairly early on. The first couple of months, don't get me wrong, we were all terrified. But we also saw videos coming out of China of people keeling over in the streets, which, by the way, we now know is horse shit. No one's falling over in the street. And none of this passes the eye test either. That's the thing, this entire pandemic.
Yeah.
If it was as deadly as they say, why am I seeing the same old saggy titted grandma bagging my groceries at the Food for Less down the street? She's not dead. She's in there every day with the cloth mask on. She's not dead. The eye test doesn't back up, because if we have supply chain issues because of forced shutdowns, because of labor shortages from the government paying people not to work, and creating a new economy of COVID jobs where people literally check passports and get paid $600, every 3 days to do it. Point being, we should have seen if what they promised us was going to come to bear. If we should have taken this extreme action, we should have seen people keeling over in the streets. Everybody we know should have somebody that, 25% of our friends should have been dead. And it's not. And I know there's people, I don't want to shit on people who've had that loss, because there are people who did have a lot of family. They're elderly, especially, you had people that had diabetes, that had comorbidities, that had, like you said, genetic markers that we don't quite know yet that had that. But the vast, vast majority, we were fine. And we were, and through every wave, not just this most mild wave, through every wave, we're totally fine.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's on. It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre because, my own psychological evolution. I'm glad I did this podcast because I started it and I can hear myself the whole time. Like if I wanted to listen back,
it's no longer just talking to the voices in your head. Now you can actually listen to your own voice recorded and talk to that.
Good God. I was so, at one point we were letting groceries sit out for 3 days.
Dude, I know.
It was a shit
we
show.
did that.
So the evolution of our thought process, and to think still okay, now I have to square that every source I believed was overblowing it or being way too conservative, and it's just is that okay? I don't know. Cause so the best example I can think of is they locked down everything. My kids couldn't play sports, right? Couldn't play soccer outside.
Right.
Just shut down the season, right?
God forbid they get some vitamin D in them, because that doesn't help.
It was brutal. We didn't realize, okay, there is absolutely no fucking way you can transmit this in the air outside. How did we not know that yet?
Kids are still wearing them, right? Are your kids still wearing masks at school on the playground and to play sports? Because everybody in my neighborhood, they still make them wear masks on the playground.
It's mixed in our soccer league. No,
but that's good at least.
But it's okay, so because it's the same conclusion I came to with the groceries. 3 weeks into the washing the groceries thing, I remember it distinctly. I was in my garage. I just got home from the store, and it was stressful to go to the store. It was oh boy, I survived. I felt like I was going and foraging for my family. I was I'm going to go to the store, guys. Mask up. Let's go.
I hope you were doing fucking ninja rolls and shit through the aisles. You see somebody coming and you just dive out of the way like you're avoiding a bomb.
Grabbing the last toilet paper.
It's the action movies. Somebody sneezes and it's like the bomb blowing up behind the house. You see Matt diving forward to avoid the sneeze.
Oh my God.
Slow motion. I know. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. How about the shortages, right? The supply, the hoarding, but because the fear mongering.
And we're still, I'll get to that in a second. My other pet peeve, but so I get home from the store and I have a can of Lysol and I have a thing of Lysol wipes, and I separated the food that I didn't want to eat Lysol later, versus the things that had an exoskeleton.
Right.
And I'm standing over it and I'm I spray the Lysol, at it, Okay. Like in its general direction. And I'm like, I'm not like really getting it all. Like it's microscopic, right? So like, this isn't working. Like Lysol's not that strong. And we're 3 weeks in, 4 weeks in, 6 weeks in, whatever the fuck it was. And I'm like, if we had a grocery problem at this point, we'd be fucked. Like I'm not really cleaning these groceries like at all. So,
exactly, man. So the eye test.
And I guess it's all like a role like that. Like, and it's this revelation of like, but here's the problem. Why didn't somebody say on TV and in mainstream, like it just a national alert, like, hey, we don't need to wash our groceries anymore. And wash your hands because you're gross, not because you're transmitting the
just
fucking
in
virus,
general,
right?
it's a good idea to wash it. Well, that's like, dude, Rachel or Raquel Walensky, right? Like, okay, so Sotomayor, they did the hearings about the OSHA mandates to have workers, over 100 people get vaccinated, mandatory,
right.
And they were finding it, thank God, said unconstitutional. But Sotomayor's out there, Justice Sotomayor, just blatantly making shit up. She's like, there are 100,000 children in the hospital from COVID, many on ventilators. Not a single part. You know how many there actually were? 3,500 in the entire United States, not on ventilators, by the way. And most of those kids, it's like in and out in a day. But she said during the hearings, this is a Supreme Court justice is so ignorant of the basic facts of the transmissibility of this disease.
Why don't they have it in front of them? Why isn't there one database?
Right.
Why isn't there one database that we all can look at? Like, the technology exists. Like literally we could have,
they've got it
in a day on Squarespace. I could make a site that would be like 10 questions.
Yep.
And have everybody's record and be like, this is the count.
I'll tell you a theory on that. And it comes out and the CDC, has been obfuscating data this entire time. And by the way, Walensky, the current head of the CDC, didn't correct when she was pressed on like a Fox News story, which I don't watch any cable news, by the way. I just kind of see it on Twitter here and there because I think it's all poison. But I saw her being questioned on Fox News and he was like, well, is this number incorrect? And she would not correct the number. All she had to do is say, that's patently false. Your children are safe. It's a very small likelihood that they get COVID in any way. All she said was, make sure to get your children boosted. Okay, bitch. What, really? Okay, make sure to get your children boosted. Okay, you don't want to clarify the facts that Sotomayor was catastrophically wrong. This is what we're dealing with, and here's my thing. Right, here's my theory on what's happening here. And this doesn't come into play with money, not even having to do with money, not having to do with power. Well, with power, everything's about power, but it's called the bad people theory. And you might have heard me tweet about this or talk about it. Here's the thing. And this goes from politics to governance to corporate to our individual lives. If you went along with everything, right, you were promised that this was a once in a generation catastrophic disease that was going to kill half the people right? So the government said we have to leap in, we have to shut down business, we have to destroy lives, which is like the suicide and alcoholism and child abuse and all sorts of horrible outcomes on top of just monetary loss. Yeah. Really atrocious outcomes, right? But they said, we have to do this because it's for the public health. It's for the public good. And we all went, okay. Now, some of us started to pull out early. We said, okay, we locked in for a few weeks. We're over this shit. It's time to go back. It doesn't seem like what we were told. The other half said, I'm still being fed. Mainstream media is still fed the same bullshit about COVID coming at you, right? The government, COVID, get your boosters. You're killing people. This is a pandemic, the unvaccinated, right? Get your boosters. They're still buying that fear thing. But people are starting to wake up and it's not passing the eye test. The problem is the politicians, the government, and everyday people in their lives, if they were wrong on this, if they bit that fucking cheese, if they bit the cry of the wolf and they ruined lives, they were complicit in unfriending people, in stopping speaking to their loved ones, in forcing people to get vaccinated, in yelling at their neighbors for not wearing masks in stores, for keeping their kids home and not letting them play, not fucking up their kids' education because they're remote learning where the failure rate went up 50%. These people are bad people. And that's something, man. Think about that. That's something. Can you live with that? Knowing that you did all that fucking horrible shit because you got conned? Or are you going to cling to that lie with every fiber of your being because you put everything into that lie?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a spectrum, right? Like there's people that were just watching and trying to do their best the whole time, like the majority, right? Like, okay, I'll wear a mask inside, fine. It seems like that works, whatever. And there is a fringe, there is a spectrum of people who were adamant about it. Like, listen, I want this over and I don't want to wear masks anymore, but not because I know for sure whether it's a good idea or not, but like, I don't want to know who you voted for and whether you got a vaccine. I don't want to know when I go to the store. I don't give a shit. like,
agreed.
I just don't want to think about it anymore. And it's almost like, I was so tired of thinking about Trump, you know, like.
Did I freeze on you? Sorry. Am I frozen?
Yeah, your picture's frozen, but I can still hear you.
Damn it. This camera's fucked up. All right, cool. All you get to hear me.
Like, just like, it's almost like around 2016, we got this thing planted in our ear about Trump and about fake news and all this shit. And it's never gone away.
Yeah.
And I'm
well, and it's your point, man. It's poisoned dialogue between people. It's poisoned data because you have solid data coming out that goes against government narratives, goes against social media. But like I said, they've gotten to a point now. And if people don't think social media is politicized vastly to the left, they're insane. And this is somebody, I came from the left, right? I didn't come to libertarianism from the right. I've never been a right-wing guy or a war hawk or anything like that. I came from the left. And over time I said, this shit's getting too stupid. But I'm looking at it from a neutral perspective, and holy shit, man, the poison that's filtered down. And again, a lot of it's because they're working with government, right? To push the government narrative on COVID, which was you couldn't question where the flu came from, right? They were booting people off Facebook for saying it came out of the Wuhan lab. They were booting people from saying that you couldn't, or that you could transmit it vaccinated. They censored people for saying that the masks weren't effective, which we know they're not. The CDC has known this forever, by the way. I've known it forever. I read 6 different studies. I read them all because I don't want to seem stupid. I don't like to be wrong. So I make sure that I know what I'm talking about, right? I don't want to look like a fucking asshole. I am an asshole, but I don't want to look like an asshole, you know? Which, by the way, reminds me of my other famous joke, but I'll wait on it. My Hitler's Titlers joke, but I'll just tell real quick. It's just that I look, so those of you listening, I'm bald like Matt. I'm bald and tall, and I look like a Nazi, basically. And I go on stage and I say, I know I don't look like a comedian. I look like a guy who should be bouncing at a strip club, a Nazi-themed strip club called Hitler's Titlers. So anyway, that was the reference. So moving on. But yeah, man, it's like,
it's fun.
Yeah. Edit it out. But it's like you see how these things they've controlled the narrative, and just how right. Like, I'll tell you honest, swear to God, man, I'm tired of being right. I'm right 80% of the time. I don't say this to be egotistical. 80% of the fucking time, I'm right about shit going on. And it doesn't mean jack, because people have invested too much. They don't want to believe what I'm telling me. They say, oh, you're a Trumper. I didn't vote for Trump. I would have never voted for Trump. But they will discount it because it's not their team now. It's become a team, and your team COVID or you're not. And that's sick. That's sicker than the fucking COVID will get you, is the poison in your brain from this stuff.
It's really interesting to live through this. I mean, it's so like, it's just so fucked up. Like, it's like we have the means, the technology now to not have had this be such a clusterfuck. Like, this should have been a global unification event in terms of like a technological revolution in like, holy shit, we got these vaccines within weeks for these certain people.
Which I'm a fan of, by the way.
More
drugs should be able to get through a hell of a lot faster.
Dude, so like but they should have been more clear. And the thing that I don't like is like, in addition, we're also muddying the waters with bad information from people coming out saying they invented mRNA vaccines and cherry picking data and talking about like, one instance, oh, my friend got this, and therefore the whole thing. Right. It's like, listen, fucker, like billions of people got this thing. We should be using this as an opportunity to figure out how to do this better, not keep bitching about it and like picking and digging in more and more on the sides of it. It's like, obviously there's been fuckery. Like you can't make this story connect. Even reasonable people can't be like, completely connect the dots in a way that makes complete sense. And like I said, it's kind of, it shouldn't be a spectrum, but it kind of is, because like, making hard choices about getting your kids vaccinated at a certain time is like, well, they don't die from it, but they can transmit it. And I don't know what's going to happen to me if I get it and they bring it home. And like, that's the mindset of it a little bit, because why didn't they tell us like, hey, it's not that bad.
Right. Why, I guess for me,
why are they afraid to tell us that?
Well,
they'll still make money from vaccines.
I told you why they're afraid to tell you that. Look, pharma probably would tell you they'd probably be more likely to tell you the truth than the politicians.
I think they will.
Because pharma didn't lock you in your house. Exactly. Pharma didn't shut your fucking business down, man. Government did that. Pharma can literally just say, look, there was a need, we filled the need. And I don't have a problem if pharma, I don't have a problem with them providing a product. I am a free market capitalist. I have no problem with it. I have a problem with cronyism in that I do worry now that it's just, let's push it. Because like I said, the lobbying money behind that farm industry is massive, unbelievably massive.
But here's a weird one, right? Like why was there this big like hydrochloroquine and then ivermectin push?
Ivermectin, by the way, which is very effective. That's an example of maybe. No, not maybe. Look at the statistics out of India. India used ivermectin early on. There was one of the most overrun COVID-heavy districts in India. Ivermectin gave it to the entire population. From the stats coming out of that, their hospitalizations and their death rate dropped 56%.
How about this?
And they give it to babies. Take it as a prophylactic. It doesn't do anything, but they demonized it and called it horse paste. How fucked up is that?
I'll take you one step further.
Bring it on.
And this, you'll like this, I think. If the disease for most people is not that bad of a progression and you get better anyway, just like with most things, maybe it doesn't do anything at all. It just so happens to be over the course of 5 days, taking this sugar pill, you get better. Like,
that's a very good point,
my friend. Like,
dude, that's a very good point.
So it's like, you gave everybody in India this pack of pills, including ivermectin, because we know it doesn't kill you, but it also keeps this crazy, weird other virus from attacking you. Like, dude, did you ever have to go to India? Like the amount of drugs and vaccines you have to get for crazy shit that happens over there it's bananas. Like,
well, I'm sure you come home from India looking like Cthulhu with like 8 tapeworms coming out of your ass.
You got to be careful, man. It's crazy. It's a whole other place. Like they got new shit we're not used to.
Yeah. And, I went to China and I had to get a few different. I had to get another Tdap and like a few other things. But
yeah, like it's no fucking joke. Like there's crazy shit circling around. But I mean, I don't even know what my point was, except I don't think we know the truth about any of this shit, and that's a shame.
No, man, this is the X-Files.
I love the X-Files.
Oh, it's the best. But see, you just hit on something. Like I said, people just want to believe what they're told because it's easier. The world's a simpler place that way. Critical thinking is easier to put to the wayside.
I think we used to get the real story. I think we used to get the real story.
I think we never, ever did.
I think
we never did. I mean, the press secretary, people like to hate on the press. The press secretary's job is to lie to you. Now, I will say journalism, I think, am I wrong? That's literally their fucking job. They're not telling you the truth ever. So the thing is, I think journalism used to be more pure.
Pasaki bombs?
I do not. I do not toss. Pisaki's. Oh God, I hate her so much. But like back in the day, right? I still think that government was very much intertwined. But there's a couple things that have happened since the old school days, right? Number one, I think journalism now has become very much poisoned to an ideology that is pro big government, and that means they don't want to push back, and they're also very politicized. I mean, anybody thinking that journalism is not very left leaning, you are living in a fantasy world, a fucking fantasy world. Let me tell you that right now. Second thing is that I think we also have a different relationship than we used to from a media perspective with government interference, because there was a bill, and I'm forgetting the name of it, but it basically said you cannot, as a government, propagandize your own country via the media, via sponsored. Okay. Now that's gone. That went away about 8 years ago. So now, and I work in public relations, so this is my world. You don't realize how much of what you're watching is portrayed as news that is in fact bought, paid for, produced by the government, by pharma, by Amazon, by you name it.
Yeah.
You don't realize it is probably 50% of what you watch. And the fact that the government can do it, you know, corporations is one thing, not that we should be happy about it, but that's everything, right? That, you know, advertisements, oh my God, I'm blanking on the name of the great movie where you look up. Yeah.
You're saying the government sponsors?
Oh yeah.
Programming?
Oh yeah. There was a bill literally, let me Google it real quick. I'll tell you the name of the bill. They were literally unable to propagandize their own staff. I think it came about during like the World Wars, because what it was is they were responding to, like, you know, the Germans and all these other people. They would propagandize their own countrymen, and they put a bill into place to stop it.
That seems like they've never followed that rule. I mean, every campaign is propaganda. Like every political campaign is nothing but propaganda.
Yeah. Well, they are, but at least those are. But the thing is, those are propaganda that is out front and centered. The propaganda I'm talking about is that they're built in a shell. You know, here's the government propaganda. It's the hermit crab, and it's in the shell, this veneer of authenticity. So here's what it was called. This is from foreignpolicy.com, which is a great site I recommend everybody read. It was, let's see. Oh, God. Oh, you're going to make me fucking pay for it, motherfucker. Fulbright. Okay, the Smith-Mundt Act. That is what it was. So it restricts programming produced by the U.S. Broadcasting Board of Governors, which includes Voice of America, Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, Middle East Broadcasting Network, etc., can only be listened to in foreign nations. So that's gone. The government can now propagandize you domestically because that act is dead at 2013. So I was very accurate in my 8 years ago. So anyway, that's happening. And also, let's not forget, Joe Biden did not. Now I'm changing streams a little bit here, but you'll see where they overlap as far as again, this is public relations stuff. How you influence people without them knowing it, because that's what public relations is. That's what influencing is.
Yeah.
Joe Biden, right, is go out there. He says, well, we're going to attack extremists, right? And I won't get into the January 6th shit on this. We can do another episode about that if you want. But he said, I'm not going to make an explicit task force. I'm not going to have a bill targeting domestic extremists. I'm going to work with social media companies to find and combat extremism. Now, what does that mean? That means that Joe Biden does not have to go on the record and have anything that can be challenged, at least out front constitutionally, as far as an overreach in authority, as far as political targeting of opponents, because he's outsourcing his censorship, his research to Facebook, to Google, to Twitter. It was a very clever move that I'm sure Joe Biden didn't come up with as he's shitting himself, in his meeting with the Pope. But somebody clever came up with it because they know it can't be challenged, man. This is how it works now. But again, I don't know if the Smith-Mundt Act would have covered that, but the reins have been taken off. The horses are running wild. And people need to be aware of this shit because that's what's happening.
How much longer do you think we can, like, I don't know. It feels like we're at a very immature stage, oddly enough, with social media. Like we're like, just like people got sick of shit like Vine and MySpace and it went away and they moved on to another thing. And then Instagram was the big thing. And now it's TikTok. There'll be something else. Facebook is like, if you choose to read it, like, yeah, it could be a cesspool of shit, but like the attention's not there. Like the user base can't be there like it was years ago. But it's just like, what if this just goes away? Like my kids don't give a shit about this. People who are 35 and to 50 give a shit, and we're going to be dead.
No, that's a good point. This is why I believe in the young. My belief in the next generation, people that are 16-ish, like, you're saying 16, 18, younger right now. Yeah. That's my faith in America and in the future, because I'll tell you a few things I've noticed just from talking to them, from seeing how they react. They are over woke ass bullshit. Mm-hmm. They are over divisiveness and being told that they have to identify based upon their race and not who they are, what they believe. They are pissed as fuck that they've been locked down and forced to wear a mask and not allowed to hang out with their friends. Mm-hmm. And they are highly skeptical of mainstream media and government. And I'm white pilled, as they say, right? Which just means I'm positive versus black pilled. Yeah. If you're not down with the lingo, I'm white pilled on that shit because they've seen through, man. Kids can be more perceptive. We give them credit for. And to your point, they're off Facebook because they know Facebook is owned by the government at this point. It's censorship personified. Here's why Facebook is still important to you and me and other people, is because Facebook bought up so many other services that we are too lazy to go other places for, right? How many things do you click through that goes sign in with your Facebook account? You're like, well, that's easy enough. You can do it all the time. Your Google account.
Thanks, Mark.
You could pay with PayPal with Facebook. And you're like, click. Good. People are fucking lazy, man. But the next generation, there's going to be something else that they use that's outside of Facebook, unless Facebook buys it up. And even then, they'll be pissed off Facebook bought it. So enjoy it, Facebook. Your fucking time is limited, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I got my son wanted an Oculus for Christmas, so we got one. And when I got it, I was like, from Facebook, what the fuck? Yep. Like I didn't want to
Meta.
Right now it's different. I didn't want to support it. Like I probably wouldn't have, And interestingly enough, this is my literally Christmas Day, and for about a week after that, I was like, this is going to change the world. Mm. And now I'm like, it's too intense. Like you can't get sucked in. Like, I guess you could get sucked in, but like, it's too much. Like it's almost.
Well, there's
dizzying.
VR porn, so you could get sucked in, sucked on. They have devices for that.
But even then, like how much, how much can you really watch? Like,
are you challenging me? Let me borrow your son's Oculus.
5 hours a day? Like, come on.
if left to my own devices, when my wife goes out of town. Trust me, buddy. I've gotten longer than that.
You would take breaks. Is my point.
Yeah. To pee.
It's like I like playing video games. Like I can't buy a video game that doesn't have a clock. Like I can't play a shooter that just goes on forever.
Oh, you'll just be lost
forever. Like no. Like 10 hours will disappear, and I will have still been playing. Right.
I feel you.
But so I'm not like I won't buy a shooter in VR, but like I know the feeling of playing that game, I guess would suck you in if it was VR and you had no friends and you just were like, well, I can just live in Call of Duty land.
Yeah. Well, that's
where I have all the guns and I'm really fast and I can, win.
And look, there was a plague of, which, has gone away. I don't know, maybe they stopped reporting on it, but a plague of mass shootings, right? And I, as a strident Second Amendment advocate, do not think it's a problem with guns. I think it's a problem with culture, and the culture of America has gotten real shitty. Parents are checked out. I was making this point before. We're all social media, games, the connectivity on our phones, right? Parents used to be at home with their kid. Maybe you could neglect your kid, watch TV, but you're still with the kid, right? You're playing with the kid. Now we're on our phones. We're kind of playing with the kid. We're checking emails all the time, right? I wonder what the cognitive impact that's going to have on children, the developmental, the emotional impact of parents being checked out, even if it's 10% of the time on kids. So think about that. That's one component. Hold on. Let me give you the full shotgun blast to the face real quick. Because there's more. So that's one component. Second component, social media, which I view as cancer. And as we said, kids are getting away from it. But TikTok, girls are developing Tourette's from TikTok, right? Cancers. That's another aspect. The isolation of, bullying, of schooling, of being on your device, of awkwardness and social interactions because you're not hanging out in person. You're doing it all online. Yeah. That leads to isolation. It leads to bullying. That's these things combined, I think, is what is driving a lot of that violence and a lot of this incel culture, a lot of suicides among younger and younger kids, a lot of the mental issues you see. This is all tied together. And I think really the core of it, and the core to a lot of the problems of the country, is social media and the way we imbibe content. We're fed algorithms. We're fed things that are either going to piss you off. And this came out in secret Facebook documents that came out in court. They feed you shit to either you vehemently agree with, or that's going to piss you the fuck off.
But it's like, now that we know that, we should just drop it. Like, be like,
goddamn right, man.
We don't need this anymore. Like, or alternatively, turn the fucking algorithm off, because we liked it when it was a way to connect to our family and put pictures up. Yeah. Now that we realize you fucking brainwashed us, we're pissed. So that I agree with. I agree they knew. I agree their incentives are wrong.
Well, let me ask you a question. Let me interview you on your podcast. Would you rather, and I was thinking about this because I was watching this Brian Stetler thing where he went to a school and they have this thing called, like I said, the news literacy organization, some bullshit. It's all the mainstream media companies trying to convince kids not to look at social media or alternative news sources.
Watch us instead.
Yeah, that's literally what it is. But he referred to the internet today as the wild, wild west. And he goes, as it becomes even more of the wild, wild west. To me, the internet, when it was the wild west back in the heyday, had way more racism. You could call people retards. You could say, faggot, whatever you want to say. You could do it. But I think it was far more balanced and far more even. And there weren't these hotbeds of, cancerous ideology as much as there are now with censorship and oversight. So what are your thoughts on that?
They couldn't be amplified as quickly.
Yeah.
If they were there. And that goes for basically everybody. The internet has given everybody a voice. Donald Trump has made it almost cool to voice what would have been quiet conversations between assholes, basically over beers. You know what I mean? Like
that's what you should have titled your podcast.
And it's
quiet conversations between assholes.
Like
listen to that. I'm going to rename my podcast that.
They could just stand up on the bar and yell dumb shit, and you'd be like, "What an asshole!" Now they can yell to a million people, right? Like literally, like.
And the algorithms pump them up to piss you off.
So like, we've definitely introduced something horrible, but also useful. Also could be a tool for good. Like, I did a lot of construction recently, and TikTok was fucking amazing for
construction. No, I didn't know. I gotta get on TikTok.
For finding people that like are craftsmen at something. Yeah. Like, I learned how to do shit by like watching 10 different electricians show me the way to do it. I'm just like, that's fucking awesome. And then, I just paid
a guy to install a chandelier today, by the way. I tried to do it on my own, but it was an old chandelier. Like the wires were the same colors. I was like, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. So,
but the internet gave me the access to a guy that did it for $150.
Exactly. So like it can be used for good. With great power comes great responsibility. Like we're fucking it up right now. And the best thing we can do is ethically get our hands around it and use it for good. Like, the board of Facebook almost should probably be like, look, Mark, you're gone. We don't know if you're maniacal or a sociopath or what. You're a little weird, but like, we don't want this driven by ads anymore. Now, maybe they would never do that because that's the profit center. And
it's not driven by ads. It's driven by the data they sell them. That's the thing.
Right.
I mean, as is everything, right? That's the thing about all these free services, right? And there's a famous saying, if it's
free, you're the product.
If it's free, you're the product, and you are. But it's also, it's the Faustian bargain. Look, I know Google's listening to me. I know it's tracking my fucking Google Mail. I know
we're
it's
recording it and putting it out for them. They don't have to listen.
Well, that's true. Exactly. It's also true. But you know what? For the ease of life it brings me, I'm cool with that bargain, right? Yeah. But when it gets to the next level, when they start working with government, that's when, for me, it crosses the boundary. And that's what's happening right now is Google, Facebook, Amazon. I mean, Amazon Web Services hosts something like 70% of the world's content. That, to me, is terrifying. But the Amazon also has benefited from crony capitalism, deals with the government, that now they've gotten to the point where if you want to talk about monopoly, that's what the government should be focusing on. And I'm not in favor of monopoly legislation, regulation in general, because usually they break down before it gets to that point. But that's the monopoly. But they don't want to attack that because that's their monopoly. And they're working and they're getting so much of our fucking data on every American that's a relationship they don't want to fuck with.
How long until we just realize that the outdated one here is actually the government? Like they should have upgraded the software of the Constitution a little bit and been like, yeah, we don't need everybody over 75 that's been here for 25, 30 years that didn't know the world before the internet telling us what to do anymore. Like you fucks are out. Like,
I mean, sorry,
the founding fathers were pretty solid on the old Constitution there. Like they
were
foresaw this. Yeah. And somehow, like, why did we lose the whole, like, yeah, it's a 4-year term and then you go back? Like, you're supposed, like, where did that go? Why did this become a job? It certainly ain't the salary, right? Like,
it's after it's all the tangential benefits. It's the speaking gigs. It's the endorsement. Like, that's where the real money is.
But they could, I don't know, man. They could still do that having been a senator or congressman, but have done the right thing by not staying there. Well, that's perpetuity because fucking their shit is outdated.
Guess who's running again? Nancy Pelosi just announced she's coming back. She's going on 81 years old. Nancy Pelosi, who pledged to not run again.
Why? Why do they want to do it?
She wants to do it for the power. She likes the power.
What does that even mean? Like, I ask my son this all the time because he's like, he talks about stories and like comic books and stuff and like, oh, they want ultimate power. I was like, hold on, what does that even mean? Like, if I was the ruler of my town, let's just stick to my little town. First of all, I could not give a shit about what anybody else is doing at this point in time, even if they're right next to me, as long as it doesn't impact me. Right?
Amen. Well, you're a libertarian. See, I always knew you were.
So, I mean, I think in some ways I am. I lean left socially, all that stuff. But like, basically, I'm like, I'll leave you alone. You leave me alone. I don't give a fuck at this point. So I don't understand. I don't understand what power means. Does that mean you have a driver? Does that mean you have 10 houses?
It means you get to go to any restaurant you want and they get you a table. It means that people buy you shit all the time. It means that you're flown in first class everywhere. That is very alluring. And also, Matt, don't forget, you and I are not fucking sociopaths. The people in government are. They are. Well, my daughter is. So maybe I am, as we've established. Psychopath. But dude, they are to be in government. Okay. So the Libertarian Party in California was trying to get me to run for governor. It's a true story.
Oh, no
and I shit you not, I would actually be very good at it. I'm in public relations. I'm good at public speaking. I don't get rattled in circumstances. I'm quick-witted. I would actually be very good at it. I'd have no chance of winning. What would have happened is they would have dug all the shit out of my personal life. It would have cost me a bunch of money. It would have fucked my business up, right? But the people that go for politics, they usually already have money. They're already cutthroat. They don't really give a shit. They want power. They want adoration. They are psychopaths. They're sociopaths. There are people in this world that just want power. There's a reason government continues to grow because virtually no one there is actually doing their real job. They just want power, and power means expansion. Just like any empire.
Don't you think that a percentage of them got in to fix shit?
Oh, I think I do.
Like, I gotta go and fix it.
Poison. Yeah, I think most of them are poisoned by their power and the prestige. I mean, look, Rand Paul, for whatever people say, he's a principled motherfucker. Rand Paul still does charity. He still takes his son, just like his dad. He actually governs as he should. Thomas Massey governs as he should. There's not many people I can point to that I think does that. I would say, even though I don't personally like Bernie Sanders, and I think he's a little bit of a charlatan as far as what he preaches versus what he actually lives by. Yeah. I will say that as far as the way he governs, at least I think he governs the way he believes his bullshit. And that's all I ask from any politician. But the vast majority of those fuckers, they don't. They're power mad. They'll sell out in a second. And this is why you were making the point earlier, get in and get out. There's an argument that's a pretty decent argument in libertarian circles. It was made by a man named, oh my God, not Hoppe. Actually, it might have been Hoppe. But it was that, in truth, monarchy has a lot of advantages over democracy when it comes to doing the right thing. And there's a reason. It's because in a monarchy, you're actually thinking about the country's future, the people's future, not 4 years from now, where you're making deals and you're trying to do bullshit to keep yourself reelected every 4 years. Mm-hmm. But you're actually thinking about what's best for the country, for succession, for your son. What are you going to take over? What am I leaving behind? Where people now, look at what they're doing with the filibuster. They're trying to destroy the electoral college. And I'm not just blaming the Democrats. They both have done this shit. Yeah. Lowering the threshold for votes. The threshold was there for a reason, you fucking cunts. It's there to balance the power out. They lower the power every time. It's short-sighted idiocy. Packing the court, short-sighted idiocy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it seems like we definitely are in need of a reboot if we want to keep this experiment going, in terms of all of the things that are in that document are just pretty good if you actually were following them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like you said before about the Second Amendment, I kind of believe in the Second Amendment too, but I don't think you need assault weapons freely available. Or if you have them, it should be harder to get one. It should be harder. The test should be harder.
I understand that. I understand that rationale. It makes sense. The counterpoint I would make is that, number one, the vast majority, despite what you might think, the vast majority of people, even if number one, it's just like legalizing all drugs, right? Which I also am for. I'm for legalizing all drugs. Everybody's not going to go out and do heroin tomorrow.
No.
Just like if you legalize everything, not everybody's going to go buy a tank or a missile or a machine gun the next day. It's not going to happen. And also there's checks and balances that you're going to have people that balance out. If somebody is a psychopath, they're going to be a psychopath no matter what. But at least you have more people armed that can take them out instantly. But the thing was, the Second Amendment wasn't for everybody just to buy a machine gun. It was explicitly for defending yourself against the government. Yeah, that's really what it was for. Yeah. And people argue that, that doesn't make sense. Well, I would reference you to the last 3 wars that we fought, which were all losses. Yeah. We lost Vietnam. We lost in Afghanistan. And we're currently, we're still fighting in Somalia and losing. We're still kind of fighting in Yemen and losing. We're still kind of fighting in any arena you name, we're fighting and losing, because if you're fighting a guerrilla war against a population that, even if they have AK 47s from 1982, it's their country. They know it. You don't know who's armed and who's not armed. Mm-hmm. And that's why they can fight back. And America, we might just need that shit, because if you've seen the authoritarianism that's rolled out, especially during COVID now, locking you in your house and shutting your business down, you might want to buy a gun, because you may need it. And not against your neighbor. You might need it against the government.
Ooh, I don't know. I can't go that deep. I can't go that deep.
All right. Well, enjoy being first against the wall, buddy, because you're not going to have a way to defend yourself.
I got a bat. I'm good.
Oh yeah, that's gonna do a lot. Dude, my wife, every time I go out of town, I come home and she sleeps. We have a gun. So I bought guns. I didn't own guns until a few years ago. And I actually bought a second gun during the riots, because there were riots happening around in LA, as you know. And I was like, well, time to buy a shotgun. Because they say the sound of a clack shotgun is the most, that sound drives away 95% of anybody, like they're gone. They hear that clack, clack. But we have a gun next to the bed, which has in a safe.
Yeah.
But she still sleeps with a baseball bat next to her on my side of the bed. And now every time I come home from a trip, I get in the bed. And if I forget, I just clack my fucking spine on this baseball bat, which is in my bed every time.
That's good, man. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not like, I've been around guns my whole life. I've shot guns. They're, especially, they have those places in Vegas where you can shoot crazy guns and all that stuff.
And shooting washing machines and shit.
It's not fun. You know what I mean?
It's a great time.
But I don't know. I think I'm just too much of an optimist, probably naively so, to think I can't go that. You're probably right, but at the same time, it's just like I don't want to.
Look. Let me
I understand.
Put it this way. Let me put it this way: people could do vastly more damage with their car if they so decided, and kill far more people.
Our problem is mental health. Our problem is mental health, not the gun, not the car,
right? Exactly.
Not the alcohol, not the drug. It's mental health. Yeah.
On that point, how many granted, there's more guns out there now, but still the gun ownership was vastly higher back in the 50s. Do you know how many mass shootings there were? Do you know how many gun
Well, it's an interesting theory on mass shooting.
Hardly any.
I wish I should figure out where this article came from, but it was a really, really well written. I think it might have been an Atlantic piece or something. It was a while back. The Columbine kids really set a precedent, and added something to the list of how to commit suicide if you're suicidal.
Totally.
So before there
was remembered.
Yeah, so it was such an interesting way to put it there. It's like, this really didn't happen before to this point, like this. Now, did they have access to weapons more powerful and more numerous than people had before? Yes, they definitely did, and that made it worse. But the fact that mass shooting was added to the list of like hanging, shoot yourself, or, what's the other one? Like in a car,
pills in garage, or something.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, we have a new option.
Mm-hmm.
And this option makes me feel better about myself before I do it and get back at the people who it's still mental illness.
You're going out in a blaze of glory. You're etching your name in history.
It's really
because of the coverage.
Yeah.
It's
terrible.
The coverage of it. And that's why the smartest thing to do is if these people stop covering them as they do, because it's sensationalized. It encourages people to do it. Yeah. On social media, again, you publish your manifesto. Millions of people read it. So it glorifies it. But to your point, it's a mental health issue.
And it's interesting because every single time, none of it, I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't remember ever hearing one of those stories where they were like, out of the blue, I can't believe this person is the one that did this. That's never the case.
It's always
something. There's always he.
Well, they're always loners, or they're
always.
Like I was saying, or they're bullied, and they're
always.
But that's the culture. It's like if there's one thing I've been thinking about this. There's one thing I want to. And actually, I was thinking even more about it last night, having second thoughts. But if there's one thing I want to convey to my daughter, it's, be kind to people. And I always try to be kind. Like I said, I'm a fucking asshole, but I'm a kind asshole. I try to be kind to people.
Yeah.
And a little bit, my friends, I would befriend people that I would view as kind of like broken toys. Here I am on your podcast. No, just kidding. But you know what I mean? But I would go to my way to befriend these people that I thought were loners. And this is true. And I become friends with them. But there's a flip side to that. And I was thinking about that too with my daughter. She's a chick. So of course, there's always, if she befriends some dude, is going to bang her. And then now he's going to go show up to school because she didn't get to fuck her. But I think people don't emphasize, especially now, understanding, dialogue, and being kind to somebody that might be different, that you might not disagree with. seeing somebody over there that's alone and just going up and saying hello and seeing what's wrong with them, seeing how they are. I mean, I was just at Penn State. Granted, I was out of my mind, fucking drunk as shit. But there's a guy sitting alone at a bar, right? And I see him there sitting, and he doesn't look happy. And I go up and I sit down and say, hey, man, you look sad. Can I talk to you? And it turns out it was now his bar. His dad owned the bar, died. He's there alone, drinking by himself, depressed as fuck. And he and I start talking and hitting off and, cheer the guy up. I'm not saying he would have gone out and shot anybody that night.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it brought him a little bit of brightness into his fucking day. If people just do that a little bit, I sound like the end of fucking Scrooged here with Bill Murray. But it is true. Be kind. Make that little bit of effort. Just be a little bit kind.
And that's the thing is like we haven't caught it early, right? Or we ignore it early, and like I don't know, man. It's having kids in school is an incredible social experiment, like to watch and to think about and see their interactions and see what they do. And like I joke with my daughter all the time. I'm like, oh my God, like Fast Times at Ridgemont High is exactly still real. Like I drop her off and I see the things that kids are wearing it's a public high school in California, in Southern California. Like it's crazy. Right. So,
make her walk to school.
You just don't have the, who has the bandwidth to make sure that we take care of everybody? You know what I mean? Like it's on the parents, but your point before was like, okay, how are they going to deal with us being 10% checked out all the time? Cause we're on a phone or whatever. I don't know. But like also when we were kids, old men, like I was gone all day.
Me too. Yeah.
With no contact with my parents, none. So they didn't raise me there in that instance. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't call them. I said, I'll be home around 4 and I'm riding my bike somewhere. Like,
right. Dude, I would intentionally get lost in neighborhoods I'd never been to.
Like I didn't like, I think back, I'm like, I wasn't that adventurous. I went to like 2 or 3 different places. I saw different friends, I played baseball mostly, like, but it was just like, no contact, no phone, no way to know where I was.
People would lose their minds now,
dude.
Right? They'd lose their minds. So people call CPS if they see children unattended at a playground. They call CPS now. People have literally had to go to court to fight for their kids because they dare to let their kid walk to the end of the street. I'm going to let my daughter do it. I have 2 parks within 10 minutes. Go to the park.
Yeah. I mean, the stats on it are astounding in that the, I forget where the study was, but it was basically like the idea was if you took an average of generational families that live in the same towns and you ask how far the radius was that the children for each generation were able to go on their own, it's shrinking. It gets closer and closer, but the crime stats that you overlay over top of that radius is also going down. So like at the most dangerous time, it was a free for all.
We were all, where anybody could come and molest you and just out in the open. And they were out there like, all right, well, I got places to be. Can you finger his finger in my butt? I got to get to the park.
But, and
good improv. Yes.
The shit that we were afraid of actually still does happen sometimes too. So you're just like, okay, the chances are minuscule, but to me, it was an alarming realization that some of this shit still happens. Well,
this ties in perfectly to the overarching conversation, and maybe this might be a good place to tie a bow on the pod. In truth,
all right.
With this point, everything in life is risk assessment. Right? That's what it comes down to. Every single thing you do, I do, risk assessment. When I go out my front door, I could get stabbed, I could get shot, I could run over, a meteor could fall on my fucking head. My kid could get killed in a car crash, far more likely to get killed in a car crash than she is to get molested and kidnapped, right?
Mm-hmm.
Far more likely. But every day she's in the car going to daycare, going places on weekends, going over. Everything's risk assessment.
Yeah.
And what we do with our lives and our children. And during COVID, our ability to assess risk was thrown out the window and poisoned by mainstream media, government, bad data, bad information, people outright blatantly lying to us. Fauci admitted he lied to the public earlier on in the pandemic because he wanted people to do what he said because he thought that would be for their best interest. Risk assessment. And there is no level of risk assessment that would demand that we lock down, that our kids stay home and can't see each other or don't get educated in school, that our businesses shut down. The risk of that was so unbelievably low that it's unjustifiable. And that's, to your point, just like me keeping my daughter home from going to play at the park or going around bicycling. I'm not going to deny her that joy and that growth in her life because the risk is so low of something happening to her. If it happens, I'll never forgive myself. But you know what? The odds are so heavily in my favor that I'll never have to, that it's worth that risk.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's so wild, and especially now because like you're not yet dealing with, you actually have a tether to your kid now, right? So
yeah,
my daughter's on the end of a phone at all times, like, so I know where she is at all times. There's a great Black Mirror episode about that. It was called like
Tracking Her.
Archangel. Yeah, I think it was called Archangel. It's awesome.
And by the way, I'm not opposed to tracking where your kids go. I mean,
no, I'm just saying.
I might turn it off, but I like to be able to turn it on if I have to.
That you'll like the episode of Archangel, but of Black Mirror. But yeah, it's very bizarre and feels daunting to have this responsibility to not only try to get through this, but also raise other humans to figure out what the fuck to do and try to point them in the right direction and try to like be like, well, here's how I see it. Like, I don't know if I'm right. Like, I've never seen anything like this before. Like, this is insane.
As I'm talking about, like, we should wrap this podcast up. It's like an hour and a half, but we're going to keep talking for another 20 minutes. So you have two kids, right? And your kids are way older than mine. My daughter's going to be 2.
Yeah.
It's interesting going into parenting. So like you said, there's a lot of responsibility, and maybe this is just the personality I have. Maybe it's just the way my outlook on life. I went into it. I read a couple books, but mostly I went into raising my daughter. I just said, you know what? I'll figure it out. So what's your style of parenting? Do you overthink it? Do you go with the flow? Like, do you just wing it and see what happens? Because it seems like just like with COVID, you can try to control it, but everything's so different in every circumstance. It just seems like you got to go with your gut. As long as you're a good person, you're not a freaking Chester the molester,
Yeah, it's very, very difficult. I kind of did a similar thing where I read a couple of books and then was like, I think I'm going to be okay. Like it's really the tactical thing that you need the books for. Like,
swaddling.
Is this something that I need to go to the doctor for, kind of stuff? But like,
right.
Even then, like, I don't know if you've had the experience where you call the nurse in the middle of the night, like, oh my God, they're doing this. And the nurse is like, yeah, that's fine. They do that. Go back to sleep. And you're like,
we got lucky. We didn't have any real scares. Thank God.
We've had a couple of those like early parenting, like she just won't stop crying. And the nurse is like, yeah,
shake her.
That's what happens. You feed them, you change them, and then they cry more. Like they're
right. Yeah.
They're babies. It's like, thank you. Emergency hotline. But I started doing this thing, and I'm definitely guilty of like, some baby talk for in the beginning or whatever, but like I've pretty much, I got really lucky. My daughter's super smart and she was like really with it from the get-go. Like literally I can remember having regular conversations with her at 18 months. Like she was really sharp. So I got really lucky with my first kid. And my thing was always just, I just talked to her like a person. Like, like censor myself a little, but like have questions and like, what do you think of that? And like, that's interesting that you hate bananas. Like, tell me about that. Like, well, they're squishy, like whatever. Like, I don't know, to your point, like if you're a pretty good person, like it's literally not that hard to know what to do and also know like, oh, I fucked that up. Like, you know, you can't be mad at a thing that doesn't know anything. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like you're not shitting yourself because you want to. It's not fun. Like maybe it is a little fun sometimes, but like it's not like you're just like, yeah, this is what we're doing. You know what I mean? So like it is a lot of go with the flow, but then it gets way more complicated as they get older because now you're not in control. They're out in the world with other people. They're going to school. They're bringing home. This is the craziest one. They bring home all the parenting baggage from all of the other parents.
Oh, the other kids rubs off on them.
Oh,
like the TikTok chicks getting fucking Tourette syndrome.
Yeah. Like,
but in real life,
if you do like, if you look at you can tell a lot about a kid's parents from the kid. Like, you know, it's the kids say the darndest things, whatever. Like, and as they get older, you can see like, oh, I bet you know, they're the third kid. Nobody even pays attention to them. That's why they're so like loud all the time. And, you know, like this kid's parent died when they were young and like you just, it's this crazy thing and they absorb all of it just like we did. Right.
Yeah.
So it's a gauntlet being a kid, you know, and I feel like they just need to have champions on their side they can count on almost more than the content of what you say and do is almost like.
Oh, I agree with that.
You know
I mean,
like
as long as you're not doing anything crazy, I agree with that a lot. But also, you know, I will say it's having this kid, you know, and just like it's a lot of work for both of us, right? Yeah. And I'm very, we co-parent well, like we both are very active. I will say that the movement towards like, you know, single parenting is a fine thing. And, you know, you don't need to be in a family unit. That when you have a young kid, I can't imagine. I can't imagine, man.
I never get a break.
You never get a break. And you're going to neglect the kid. Even with two parents, there's times where you're just like, man, this fucking little bitch, man, I swear to God, you know, like you just fucking need a break and you can't, and you get no break. I mean, I guess maybe I'm speaking during COVID because she's home. Like she was home for like 14 days in a row because she just had boogers and they were like wouldn't take her. And we were just like, my wife and I were just like losing our minds. Like, cause we're both working, just like, but yeah. I will say, I just think, man, if you're a single parent, holy shit, I feel for you with the young kids. With the young kids, I can't imagine because they don't check out. Maybe she's finally starting to watch a little bit of like TV where we can like turn it on and she's going to watch
10 minutes. Yeah.
5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
But for the first 2 years, I can't imagine being a single parent. Can't imagine.
Yeah. It's difficult. It's definitely, like I said, it's a gauntlet for everybody. And like the blessing and the curse of the lockdown. Like one of the greatest things about COVID and the lockdowns and all the rules that were in you know, whatever, all the things we talked about, I would never trade is that essentially for the last 2 years at plus, I have put my kid to bed every night. Yeah. And I would have never had that opportunity. Never. Like something comes up, you go do something, you have activities, you go on a business trip, whatever the case may be. And the years that I've been able to spend with them here all the time, like, you know, my schedule was insane before COVID and traveling and doing shows and all that stuff. Like, I can't go back to that. I don't want to go back to that. I've built an office in my house so I don't ever have to go anywhere. Like, because they're awesome and I know they're going to leave someday. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I treasure it. And it's like, well, you know, I didn't die from the pandemic.
Yet.
My family got through it yet. And I got all this dedicated time. So but like, man, it's also a bummer because you're like, well, especially at my daughter's age, like, boy, I remember my years, and I'm sorry you were stuck at home for so much of that because you don't get those years back. Like, and kids that were like, say, a sophomore in high school in 2020 and graduated over Zoom and missed their whole like senior year, like, holy shit.
Or
like,
my buddy's kid missed his first year of college.
Yeah. Yeah.
I told him, I was like, defer. Go,
100%.
Go somewhere else. Go somewhere that's open and free right now. Go to Sweden for a year, man.
Yeah.
Don't go to college, sitting at home doing Zoom classes.
No, it's
but he did it. I was like, you're fucking up. Number one, he fucked up he went to USC, which I think you should go. Well, look, I hate USC because I went to Penn State, but I think you should go somewhere not in your town. Get the fuck out of Dodge. Yeah. I went to Penn State, it's still in Pennsylvania. It's 3.5 hours, 4 hours away.
Yeah.
You know, get that distance. Don't stay in the same city as your fucking parents, man. Especially now. I mean, you're just sitting at home living with them. Enjoy that.
Yeah. I mean, dude, again, hindsight, like, that whole thing. And when would we have ever been able to give every single person on earth a pass for 18 months to 2 years of a gap in their resume, a gap in their student, whatever?
And to pay them so much money. Do you, I mean, I shit you not. Like I said, I had to go on unemployment for a little bit because my firm, just all of our clients left. All of them. They were like, none of us are making money. Goodbye. So the amount of money I was making sitting at home, I'm not going out. I'm not, I was drinking heavily, but that was my only expense and especially in the like early pandemic, right? When we were afraid to go, buy groceries, we were like, let's go through all the shit we have frozen.
Yeah.
We sat at home for a month. I got paid out by the government plus, pandemic pay of $600 plus unemployment, but I paid off all of my credit card bills. I wish the strip clubs were open. I was rolling in cash. Like it was idiotic. And that's why you see the supply issues right now. You see the hiring problems, right?
Yeah.
All these people that they don't have a high cost of living. They're not paying for a house like we have. They're living in a cheap apartment. Maybe it's rent controlled. Yeah. They're getting paid an ungodly amount of unemployment plus COVID benefit money for 18 months. And now what? They're going to go back and get a job? Why? They have $20,000 in the bank. Why would they go get a job? It's just government.
How did they arrive at those monies?
Idiocy.
How did they arrive at those amounts?
I couldn't believe. I honestly, when I saw just how much money I just had in surplus, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't fucking believe it. That's paid off all of our home renovation shit. I mean, it was bonkers. Fucking bonkers.
Yeah. I mean, shit is broken. No question. No question. Yep. I hope that the kids fix it. Like, I hope they
get back on the gold standard, baby.
I hope they take
20% inflation.
I'm not doing that. That's bullshit attitude and apply it to everything. Like, literally just be like, no. Like, you're full of shit. I don't care about you. Like,
I believe in it, man.
I hope so, man. I
believe it. This was the kick in the ass. Oddly enough, as much as I hated it, which infuriated me, this is the kick in the ass that I think not just our country, but every country needs to shake off this fucking big government obsession, this nanny state bullshit, and be like, no more of this crap. We want to live our fucking lives. We're going to make our own success. We don't need your shit. We don't need your money. We got Bitcoin. We don't need you devaluing our currency to pay people to do nothing. We don't need your control. I hope I'm right.
I hope we can get to that sensibility without too much trouble. Like I think it'll be very logical. That's the problem, is that it's extremely logical. If you ask every single person one-on-one, be like, okay, listen, do you believe in this? Would you rather this? Doesn't it make sense? a reasonable person really would have a hard time putting together an argument for the way that it's been done.
Matt, you're describing every political conversation I've ever had, and yet everybody I know still votes Democrat.
But they can't, like the libertarians.
I can break them down logically on every point, and they still vote Democrat.
But the libertarians run bad candidates.
Oh, they're the worst.
They're terrible.
Why I would have been the best candidate they ran in decades on any level. But I'm not going to do it. Yeah, they're idiots. I don't know what to tell you. They're fucking idiots.
Here's my idea.
There might be a really good candidate running this year, though. Keep your eye out. He's a stand-up comedian named Dave Smith. He has a podcast called Legion of Skanks, which is they're going to run to the ends of the earth, these clips, but it's one of the funniest podcasts ever.
Yeah.
That motherfucker's smart. He would be a great messenger. He still won't win, but he could wake people's shit up.
Here's what I think they should do. Toss this around. Why not get rid of these political parties altogether? And you have to represent your ideas. Like, you don't know what I am. Call me a libertarian.
They'll never allow that to happen.
Dude, that would save so much. Like, literally, like, stop the black and white Democrat, Republican voting bullshit and just be like, human vote. Mm-hmm. Count the numbers, majority wins. That's how voting works, fuck faces. So, like, there's 100 of you, like...
I agree with you halfway. The only reason I don't agree is that I believe in the Electoral College a lot, because otherwise I do not believe in pure democracy. All that is tyranny. Period. Some of the worst atrocities in the history of the world have been committed by majorities. You have to have a check. That's what the Electoral College is. It's the check. And, and that's why, but to your point, I wish people would vote as individuals. Individualism is something that is so underrepresented, underrated. People are tribal as a whole, but if we can get back to individual thinking, voting, that'd be great. The political parties, the two main parties, will never let that happen as long as we let them. It's like there's a reason the Green Party, Libertarians, et cetera, aren't in debates. It's because I can't remember what they're called, the Democratic coalition. It's literally run by Democrats and Republicans. Yeah. That runs all of our debates, our presidential debates, the Presidential Debate Commission. It's run by two parties. Yeah. It's fucking bonkers. It's as bonkers as the Federal Reserve creating money out of nothing outside of the government. They're not even part of the government. It's fucking bonkers. And yet everybody accepts it.
Oh man, we're only here for 100 years, all new people. So can't fix it all.
Let's fix what we can fix.
I appreciate your views. I honestly do. Like I think it's interesting to think about. Like I had Jimmy Dore on, and he.
By the way, can you please connect me with Jimmy Dore? I want him on my show badly. Oh, and dude. I try to get him on Twitter, and he doesn't respond to shit. And I know somehow you're the Jimmy Dore whisperer. I don't know what you did to him. You had him do our fucking shitty comedy show at the Sports Harbor.
He's great.
Which, by the way, still is beloved. I'm bringing it back. I think a comedy show I'm going to bring back at one of two venues. So I'll let you know what I do.
Oh man, I want to do it too. It's like I got to figure out. It's got to be closer. I don't know. My venue just shut down that I was going to return to here shortly.
Your venue is on the other side of the earth. It was literally, I tunneled through China to get to your venue the last time I got there. I was like, I can't even believe this happened.
You live far. You live down south of where?
I live in Hawthorne now. I live in south of LAX, man.
Yeah, that's a hike. But we should definitely, at least, if nothing else, have another Comedy Ahoy, like somewhere, sometime. I mean, we have the banner. But
I told you, I was going to resuscitate it in Culver City.
Yeah.
I might do it right here in Hawthorne, depending, but I'll let you know. But I'm flying the Comedy Ahoy flag. It's coming back this year. It's going to come back within the next couple of months, guaranteed.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'd like to. I miss it. Like I've been wondering lately. I'm like, I don't know if I'm.
Well, you don't have to come out to every. I mean, I'll book you on the show. You don't have to come out to every show. It's like a 2-hour drive.
Yeah. No, but I liked that aspect of it. Like I liked that part of it. I like the consistency.
Getting away from your kids. Yes, I know you hate.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see. It's gonna be interesting. But I'm kind of like, now I'm like, okay, we need to move past this. Like, why haven't we fixed the known supply chain issues we've been talking about for 2 years and just do things differently, adjust?
Now, I'll tell you an insight on that. My father-in-law is a pilot, you know this, that brings in the giant ships, the cargo ships in LA Harbor, which if you're not familiar with this, there's like 100 ships waiting to come into the harbor to offload goods, like 100. And the problem is, I asked him, I said, what's going on? Because Biden was like, we're going to do our, around the clock. Hey, buddy, 24 hours. Great. And my father-in-law was like, he's like, you could do 24 hours. There's nobody to work. There's nobody here. You
got to unload them.
Yeah, somebody to unload the ships. You can say that. We can technically be on the clock, but there's nobody to unload the ship. So, it's fucking stupid.
But did the ships know they were going to sit off the shore for like a month?
No.
Like, do they have provisions and like gas and shit? Like how do they?
They can. I'm sure they have something. They have some sort of way to take care of themselves out there because they got to provide just in case they're out at sea an extra week because of the storm. But there's ships that have been out there a month. So I don't know how that works out. I know that all these eco nuts should be very concerned about. They were like the lockdowns are great. The Earth's going to be so clean because nobody's going outside. We're like, well, now you got 200 tankers sitting in the ocean leaking oil and fucking Chinese diarrhea. So, let's see how that works out for the environment.
Oh my God. It's insane, dude. It's insane.
All right, I have to call us a night. This is like almost 2 hours of podcasting, Matt. I have to call it a night. I have work to do tomorrow.
Yeah. Good times, my friend.
Yeah, dude, it's been too long. We got to catch up. Well, we'll find a time to get together in person. We'll find a meeting zone.
Word.
To hang out.
Always good to catch up, brother.
Love you, buddy.
Love you too.